Our second topic for today, the Jaguars make a monster move up. They give up their first round pick, which 5th overall, their second round pick, 36th overall, and their first round pick next year to move up 3 spots and get Travis Hunter. And for the Jaguars, this again reflects the background of the guys they just hired. Liam Cohen, their new head coach, James Gladstone, their new general manager, both those guys coming over with Rams background. Liam isn't coming directly from the Rams, James is. But you see that sort of go for broke mentality with this move. My question is, are they close enough to do this? And you know what? That's a Jaguars team that I think was afflicted over the last few years by paying some good players great money. And so do they have the foundation pieces in place with Travis Hunter coming in now where you could look at Hunter and say, yes, that's a finishing piece. They really don't need too many more pieces around what they already have when you add Hunter to the mix, where they're going to need all of this draft capital over the next 2 years. Make no mistake about it, the 36th pick in this year's draft, that's a valuable piece of real estate. In next year's pick, we'll see what it is. It's sort of a bet on yourself if you're Liam Cohen and James Gladstone and Tony Baselli and the new brass in Jacksonville. Like that's going to look bad if that's the 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th pick in the draft. The Jaguars are in the playoffs, and that's the 23rd or 24th or 25th pick. Well, then, I mean, like you're looking at this a lot differently. So, big swing by the Jaguars. It's sort of a reflection to me on where they think they are, that they don't think they're that far off. Because if you think you're way off and you think you need a bunch of pieces to get to the point where you're ready to challenge the Houston Texans, who've won the division the last 2 years, you're ready to advance a round or two in the playoffs, then this move would 100% make sense. We'll see if they're there or not. And if they're right about that, if they're right that they are actually close, then that pick, of course, naturally becomes the value, the pick next year. Obviously, this year's pick is set in stone. For the Browns, I think to some degree, this is a chance for them to reset things a little bit. They lost all that draft capital in the Deshaun Watson trade. And, I think looking forward now, you look at it, Myles Garrett is getting a little bit older. They've got some pieces on that offensive line that are getting a little bit older. Obviously, Nick Chubb, a guy who's been a legend for them, not there anymore. So, you look at all of the moving parts in that roster, and it's really gotten to a point now where they're starting to feel the effects of having lost all that draft capital for Deshaun Watson, where the roster is getting older in some spots. And so having the chance to reset where you have 3 of the first 36 picks this year with Mason Graham there now, and then 3 picks in the first 2 rounds next year, you really give yourself a shot to replenish things. And obviously, to some degree, they're going to be judged here, fair or not, on what does Travis Hunter look like in Jacksonville and what does Mason Graham look like in Cleveland. And I think Graham's a fantastic player. The question with him isn't whether or not he can be a good player. It's going to be whether or not he can be a great player. We know he can be a good player. He's a really great player at Michigan. I think he projects the pros as a guy who coming out like is it a baseline, a pretty good player. The question is, can he elevate to the point where you would think he'd be worth the 5th overall pick? And that part of it to me remains to be seen. There are a lot of people who looked at it and said Walter Nolan, the Ole Miss defensive tackle, actually had the higher ceiling of the 2 guys there, and even maybe his teammate at Michigan, Kenneth Grant, might have had a little bit of a higher ceiling. So it'll be interesting to track those things as all of those guys move into the NFL.